I, 37 female, gave my husband, 39 male, an ultimatum about his hobby. How do we move forward? Spouse and I have been married 15 years and we have 3 kids under 10. We've both always been into fitness, but my husband is always looking for ways to do more. Last year he trained for, and completed, his first triathlon. We were all pretty proud of him and glad he had the experience, but the training really kind of sucked for us at home. He spent over 3 months working out nearly every day. It was incredibly time-consuming. He'd spend hours a day. For example, some days he'd work his job and then come home and do a 3-hour bike ride or run. There were many days when he flat out didn't see our kids at all and I really felt like a single mom. About a month after his triathlon he started talking about how he wanted to do another right away. I immediately asked him what his plans were for triathlons and he said that he'd like to do them continuously throughout the year. I told him that if that was the case, that I really didn't think I could do that and that it might be best if we part ways. He was incredibly upset and indignant, told me I was unsupportive and trying to sabotage him. He said it was unfair to make that demand, that if I was dating someone I would never ask them to quit their hobby. And he's right, I wouldn't, but I would still absolutely peace out because their hobby is incompatible with the life I'm looking for. I didn't really feel like I was even making a demand. I was just stating a fact that it was really hard to support the family alone while he trained and that I couldn't see myself doing it forever if he wanted to become a triathlete. Even though it was unsupportive on paper, I feel like the most supportive thing I can do in this situation is to step away and let him do what he wants and chase his dreams. He eventually agreed to drop the triathlons because we are the most important thing to him. But it's been months and he still finds ways to make snide comments about it or will bring it up out of the blue if we argue. I can't tell if he's just feeling resentful or if he's trying to get me to feel bad and change my mind about it. At any rate, I still feel the same way and there's no chance I'm going to change my mind. How do we move forward from this? Balance and responsibilities are part of being an adult and a partner. He is failing in those categories. Don't change your mind. Going to a full-time job and then coming home and training 3 hours a day is too much and not compatible with a family. Doing it for a couple months? Okay. Making it semi-permanent? No way. Ask him to get up early and do it before work while everyone else is sleeping if he really wants it. Tell him you want to start training for a triathlon to understand where he is coming from. Start training 3 hours a day after work and expect him to take care of the kids just like you did. After that, just try for like a month. You can have another conversation about what is fair. He chose to have a family, which does mean you have to put your family first. I guess he will start to understand you better if he goes through the same things as you did. This man has 3 children under 10. The only reason he was able to train like a single man was because you shouldered 100% of every responsibility except his job. Now, he's sulking like a teenager. He needs to grow up and decide if he wants to be a married father or not. His midlife crisis needs to take a step back. What does he think would happen if you divorced? He gets 50% custody and then he also can't train for a triathlon except if he hires a babysitter, a nanny or an au pair. He should listen to audiobooks on being an involved father and a good husband while training. Lol, I tried to date a triathlete and figured out first month I had to do the same or dump him. So no athletes for me. He needs his schedule adjusted to spend time with kids and do chores. TV he can watch riding a bike if you fine with such couples time. 33 female wife is devolving into a human. I 38 male don't feel safe around. Posting for a friend who doesn't have Reddit but wants some advice. Here is his story. I 38 male and my wife 33 female have been together 10 years, married for 7. Until the last 1.5 years everything has been great. We have 2 wonderful kids together, we are financially stable. We own our house, live in a good neighborhood, etc. etc. Our boys are 3 and 6, this will factor in later. Now my wife is insanely intelligent. She's beautiful and until recently, she's been a great mother. Selfless. She makes sure everything runs smoothly. And if you were to meet our children, they're these happy little larks. They speak 3 languages, she spoke 2 natively and learned 2 more, 1 to B2 and 1 to C1 just so she could ensure they could learn more, they excel. And mostly our relationship was peaceful. We had our ups and downs, went through a breakup 6 years ago. Now my wife has always been a bit anxious, but never been a yeller, rarely angry. She was an irritable person at times, but minority irritable, she sighed a lot, or rolled her eyes. Like signs you know she's irritated but well within normal. So when people say there are always signs, IDK, she mentally snapped. Now she has been in therapy and has a psychiatrist, she has ADHD, high anxiety, imposter syndrome, and has been on Xanax, Zoloft, those on and off for a while. Which is why this behavior is more alarming. For the last 18 months, she's been more withdrawn, new baby, I'm sympathetic. It's hard being a mom and a primary caregiver. She's chronically on the phone, in the news, on social media. She has a work-from-home job and she's specialized so she can make her own hours and work when she pleases. She started tuning out. We agreed, talked to psychiatrist. They said maybe postpartum, but that overall she seems happy. It may just been escapism and strain from kids, lack of sleep. That went on for about a year. These last 6 months have been hell. And I'm becoming terrified of my wife. She had suddenly personality swings, I mean sudden, about once a month. She goes from being slightly anxious but loving, doting mother. Wife to I want to watch the world burn. It lasts 1-3 days but it's becoming more aggressive. Our oldest didn't eat his lunch. She throws the lunchbox in the garbage and tells him that he can just get diabetes and cancer like the rest of the Americans and die a slow death from junk food for all she cares. The 3-year-old started crying and she covered her ears and just starts chanting shut up until she starts yelling and they're both quiet. She'll make condescending comments about herself. Yeah, don't listen to me. I'm just a useless fat servant here for you guys. It's cool, I'm not important anyway. It would be better if I died so your dad can remarry somebody younger. My wife isn't fat and looks about 24. She's a size 2 after 2 kids. I've told her that if this behavior doesn't change that this relationship won't last. Now I may have said that at the wrong time. She was ranting in the garage because her voice gets real quiet and she walks out to the car, parked on the street. At the time I didn't understand why she did this, thought she was calming down. I approach her and she says in a very low but almost demonic voice, "See how that turns out for you." I let her cool down. Life continues as normal. She apologizes, talks to her therapist, they change her meds. She seems calm again until a month later when that internal demon comes again. I again say things at the wrong time. This time I said I will leave with the kids if this behavior continues. I'm here to help, but this needs to stop. She says essential. I will make your life hell. Sure, prenup favors you, and you will try and take as much financially. Fine, I'm smarter, I'm more attractive, and on paper I'm perfect to law enforcement and the cops. You take my kids away, some of us aren't going to live to see the end of that filing. And IDK, which would hurt you more, but guaranteed. I will make it hurt more than money ever could, so make your next decision wisely. This terrifies me. She's not wrong on paper, she's perfect minus anxiety. PTA mom, great job, kids who adore her. Oh, the reason she walked to the car I found out was out of reach of security cameras. I did file a police report and sent the footage. She explained the argument away. Have the report, but even to my friends and family with her very convincing explanation and use of her walking in and out of earshot of the camera. Intelligent. It's manipulation on another level. The threat isn't empty. I've considered using that she's in therapy, but I've been in 2 and really the only thing on record is anxiety. Never violence. Even talking to her psychiatrist with what little I could get was, he couldn't testify to violence. Nothing in her personality or sessions suggests violence. I love her and don't truly feel this is her. This extreme change more than her words makes me worried, and maybe I shouldn't have said the D word out of anger, but I was hoping that would bring her to reality. Edit, since many in my comments said I need to include this and I keep repeating this. 1. I have hired 3 different sitters to take the load off. She didn't like any of them. Also tried a meal service to ease cooking and she didn't want it due to plastics and said she's at home. She can take care of the kids and cook. She'll hire a sitter when she feels it's needed. I feel it's needed, but I can't force that on her. 2. She doesn't sleep. Maybe 4-5 hours a night. 3. Her psychiatrist has her on Xanax, Zoloft and Wellbutrin at the same time. 4. She recently weaned for the first time for any length of time in the past 6 years. She nursed number 1 until he was practically 3, then pretty much had number 2 and started nursing him with maybe a few week break while switching meds, and she pumped. 5. I'm a civil field engineer. I have projects at times that keep me from home, sometimes hours a day to days, weeks a month, so I can take responsibility for not being home a lot. It's why I try to hire out services. 6. She works from home about 25 hours a week. I did offer her to be a stay-at-home mom if she wanted or work full-time. This was her choice of hours. Anybody else deal with this? Any advice would be appreciated. Your wife is giving every warning sign of postpartum psychosis. Take it seriously and get her help. These inopportune times that you keep reminding her of all she stands to lose are not helping with the stress of the situation. I know you're reeling right now, but for the sake of your entire family, she needs inpatient care RN. You also need therapy, as do your kids. Hugs. I know it's not easy, but she is still in there. She needs serious help. She needs intensive, perhaps inpatient, therapy ASAP. Sudden drastic mood changes are not normal and the children are not safe around her. She also needs to see a medical doctor as soon as possible to be sure some sort of medical issue isn't driving the mood change or she's having horrific side effects from medication. He needs to put a call into her therapist and explain what's going on at home with these mood changes and attacks. Did she change her birth control around a year and a half ago? You mentioned how her behavior escalates once a month. That could indicate it has something to do with her period PMDD. Is she currently taking any meds now? You mentioned she's been on and off meds. Does she stop taking them or is it under doctor care? Some meds need to be weaned. Have you thought of splitting parenting duties 50-50 rather than forcing her to carry a majority of the load? She sounds burned out, among other things. She needs to get away from the kids. Hire a nanny, send them to your parents' place, whatever. Just take her away for a break. And she needs help. I used to have extremely volatile mood swings and I now take a mood stabilizer and an antipsychotic. I would consider she either has postpartum psychosis, her meds are wrecking her, or there's a growth or something on the brain. She needs investigating further than a therapist. 36M, 35F. Am I selfish for refusing to shoulder the medical studies of my sister-in-law? For context, we are just a newlywed couple and expecting our first child. My husband is an OFW, seafarer, and his parents are retiring soon. He then told me that he is going to shoulder the private tuition fee of his sister. After that, if she is going to study medicine, he will also be the one to cover the expenses. I told him to not commit immediately since his savings after his contract usually lasts for 3-4 months. Now that we are expecting our first baby, it will be hard on us too to have additional responsibilities. I quite resent him for his decision and told him I will return to work as a doctor, but my focus will be my baby and my own expenses, nothing else. He has to allocate funds for daily expenses while on land. I am now becoming distant to him and I do not want to interact with his family either. It's unfair for us since we are just establishing our growing family. I'd separate your finances. Do his, hers, ours accounts. Tally up the shared expenses and each of you put into ours, based on percent income to cover those things. Then the rest that's left goes to your personal ACCTS. If he wants to spend his extra money on his family, fine. But he can't touch ours for it. We do that. I make more than my partner so I pay more towards our shared stuff. But then if he wants to go buy whatever I do, we don't have to have a big convo about it. No, you're not selfish, you're smart. You're having a baby, building a life, and he's out here volunteering to fund med school like it's a side quest? That's a huge financial burden, and it's not your responsibility. He's being unrealistic and honestly, a bit careless with your future too. You're allowed to set boundaries. You're not a villain for not wanting to bankroll his sister's dreams. Baby over sister-in-law. Period. Tell him to have fun surviving when he's paying for sis school and child support. Resentment is one of the deadly horsemen in a marriage according to Gottman. This is not sustainable. He made vows to love, honor and cherish you. That means he doesn't get to decide something like this unilaterally. Separate your finances now. He needs to pay his portion of the bills, including childcare, medical insurance, etc. Then with his fun money he can think about supporting his sister, but it should come after he has put money into your child's college fund, family savings account, etc. His sister can fund her own college. Update me. You'd be better off raising this baby on your own. He's pretty generous with your income. If his savings only last for 3-4 months of unemployment he can't afford to pay his sister's tuition. My 24M, girlfriend, 24F, wants attention from older men. Hey, me, M, 24, and my girlfriend, F, 24, have been dating for 1.5 years. I have noticed repeating behavior from her, and that is, whenever she is drunk she wants to nurture and compliment older men. She says things like your shirt is good looking and you're handsome. Last time she was drunk she was with a teacher, 30M, in his apartment at 6 a.m. and they were talking deep. Nothing else happened by her words. She just wants to help and understand people. She grew up without a dad and I think she wants safety and stuff like that from older men. We have had a lot of fights because of this. She says I am delusional and I am just overly jealous, and I understand that I might be the problem. But for me I just find it weird that she usually finds herself with older men and likes them, compliments them and wants them around. I think it's something that doesn't belong to a relationship. She just says she wants to help and nurture them. Anyway, can someone help me and bring some line of thinking to this? I think she is doing something wrong and she is thinking that this is okay. What do you think? Am I the problem? Nothing happened at 6 a.m. drunk at his apartment. Wants older men's attention. Just cut your losses. In his apartment at 6 a.m. and they were talking deep. Something was deep, but it wasn't the talking. See you at the gym. Dude, is it just me or is 30 male to a 24 female not that much of an older man? But regardless, they definitely banged. Dude was not going to stay up with her till 6 a.m. without getting some action. How often is she getting drunk in situations where there are random older men around for her to get attention from? Why are you still with her?